Hi. Hello YouTube land. So I've already had a lot of support for my first video. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who watched it and sent really encouraging messages. I'm not a video editor. I don't know much about any of that, but I think I'm just gonna keep talking because that's what I can do. I'll share what I can share, and I'm gonna keep this going. So as promised, the next thing I was gonna talk about was how I felt the police let me down. So this is not scripted. I have not written anything down. I'm just talking from my memory. So I was assaulted, and yeah, and again, if you haven't seen my previous video, this is about domestic violence. So if that is something that you cannot listen to, please click off now. Yeah, if you do not want to hear about a woman getting hurt or anyone getting hurt, please leave the video at this time. That is my trigger warning. So April 2019, my ex assaulted me physically. I narrowly escaped. I grabbed my car keys that were on the ground and I ran to my neighbor's house. This neighbor, the man of the house, was a close friend with my ex. I had never met his wife. I had never met his children. I had never been inside his house. I had never knocked on his door for a cup of sugar. I've never been there. They don't know me. But the man of the house, he's met me. He knows me. He would come over and help take care of our dog and have a beer with my ex. So this was around maybe 1 a.m., 1:30. I was assaulted, and I grabbed my car keys, which were on the ground, because I had seen where they went, where they had been flown, where they went, and in my mind, I thought, I'm gonna remember where those are, because if I can get away, I will get away. So I grabbed my car keys. The unfortunate thing is that very early in the attack, my glasses were broken and knocked off my face. So there's no way that I could have driven myself away, because I couldn't see. So if I had the option to just get in my car and drive, I would have done that, but I'm very nearsighted, so it would have been extremely dangerous. And also I was just emotionally done. I mean, I don't think that it would have been safe for me to drive. So I'm glad I didn't make that choice. I'm glad I didn't drive. And I just made, the first decision I made was just run to my neighbor's house and knock on the door for help. So it was 1 a.m, you know, they have young kids, and I just was banging on the door really hard. And yeah, it woke them up. It took them, I was freaking out, but it took them like 15-20 minutes to figure out who was at the door and to decide if they were going to open it. But I think yeah, they were scared because they have children, so they need to protect their children, and they didn't know who I was, or they couldn't really see. It was dark out, so they didn't answer the door because they didn't know who was there. But at that time, when I was sitting on their porch alone, crying, I decided that I was going to call 911. So I called 911, and I'm going to admit to this, that I've had a history of calling 911 on my ex and for him doing something violent. And by the time they arrive, he's not doing that violent thing. And then he made excuses. So the one example was, we had a friend over. The friend said something that upset him. I think he gave me a compliment. He said something about my looks, like something like I was really pretty, or he'd like bang me if he had the chance, like something like maybe a little off color, but like I wasn't upset about it. But this set my ex off, and I don't remember the events, but like I went to the bathroom, I came back, and they were fighting in the kitchen, and my ex was like, again, like hitting him repeatedly, and he said, "Rachel, call 911 because I think he's gonna kill me." So yeah, I guess I didn't introduce myself. My name is Rachel. So yeah, so his friend said, call 911 because I think this person's gonna kill me. And by the time police arrived that day, this is a different day, but by the time police arrived, my ex and him were just acting buddy-buddy. There's no big deal. It's okay. She's overreacting. She's a hysteric woman. She's crazy. Don't listen to her. And I just felt really betrayed because, like, I didn't want to call the cops, but his friend requested it, so I did that. And the cops, I think, were smart enough to tell that these guys were lying, but they didn't do anything. They just left. Cut back to my assault. So I called the police, and this is where it gets difficult for me to talk about, but I called the police, and I think that my neighbors heard me talking to the police because they were awake now, trying to figure out who was on their doorstep, and if they had to call the police to get this person off their doorstep. And they heard me calling the police, and then I think they realized what was going on, so they opened up the door. They apologized because they said, look, like, you called us in the middle, like, you banged on a door in the middle of the night. We didn't know who you were, and we have children to protect, so we didn't know. They explained themselves. They let me in. They looked at me, like my shirt was ripped, and I didn't have any, like it was still April, still middle of the night, like still a little cold. Like, this is a time of year where I'm from that you'd still probably wear a jacket or wear a sweater when you're out at night at that time. But I had just a thin shirt on, no bra, because that was part of what happened to me. Is that yeah, I'm not gonna go into that. So anyways, the point, it's already 8 minutes in. Okay, the point of the story is that the police officers came. There's 2 officers that talked to us. One went to my ex first. The other talked to me first. The police officer that talked to me first was very kind, very diligent, said, oh, you know, we're going to take you to downtown. We're going to do a statement. We're going to record you right now as you are. We're going to record a video. You are going to say what happened. It's going to be okay. It's going to be really scary, but I'm going to be here for you. We're going to do this, da-da-da. And he was really on my side, and it felt like the steps were going to be taken. Then the next officer came by, and he said, well, you are the one that provoked it. You were the one that started the fight. You were the aggressor. And what he said to me was, you don't have a broken nose. You don't have blood all over you. How can I, in court, be on your side I can't for certain say that you didn't use excessive force against him. And the truth of the matter is that I went to slap him first. I didn't make contact with his body. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep rolling. Sorry. I'm gonna find some better means of keeping this phone up. Well, I mean, that was a great visual effect because I went like this and then it fell. So just keep going. So I made no contact with his face. I bumped his glasses and then he assaulted me, and he did use excessive force. And at that time, my glasses were broken. If the cop just wanted to look, it would like, they were on the ground in, like, this occurred in our garage. So it was on the ground in our garage. My glasses were broken. Like, I had already at the time, I had a giant goose egg right here. I had a giant goose egg. Like, this is, I'm half Asian. I have a fairly flat face, okay? And I'm telling you, the goose egg was like this big. It was this big right here, center. And yeah, that day I didn't have anything. I had some scratches, but he was saying, you're not bleeding, your nose is broken. I can't be on your side. I can't go into a court of law and say that you did not use excessive force against him. I'm a 5'3". I'm 5'3". I'm 5 feet tall, 3 inches, okay? Overweight woman. He is like 6'1". I just don't know. I just don't know how you can look at me and look at him and say that, even if I can't, I don't understand. I don't understand how you can look at me and look at him and say, well, you are the aggressor here, like you. Anyways, but I did start it, but I'm telling you, I'm not the one that finished it. And the first officer, I didn't lie, I said everything. I think maybe I did lie at the time about starting it because I was just really, really scared. And you know what? I don't know. I don't know what I said that night. I don't know what I said that night because I was hit in the head so many times I can't count. And they asked me, how many times did he hit you? And I said, I don't know how many. I don't know. A lot. And they didn't believe me. So that was great. It wasn't great. It was horrible. They didn't believe me. It was awful to be there in a vulnerable state and have a police officer look you in the eye. Actually, the police officer didn't just look me in the eye. He took his flashlight out and he shone them in my eyes. I think he was looking for like bloodshot eyes if I was on drugs, but just imagine that. Like, I was just, the most horrible thing that had ever happened to me had just happened. And instead of support, I had a police officer tell me, I don't believe you. There's no way that I could be on your side. Starting to feel like I should re-record this video, but I think I'm not going to. I think it's gonna be too rehearsed if I don't just put up this one. So I'm gonna put up this one, even though I've had this phone fall twice. So yeah, can you imagine that? Having the police officer say, I don't believe you, I can't believe you, I can't be on your side, you're not hurt enough for this to hold up in court, give up. So my neighbor's wife offered to drive me home, which is ridiculous because I lived with my ex and that was my home. That was home to me. And I had lived with him for 3 years. So to tell me that this wasn't home, to go home. Well, home was there. My name was not on the lease. This was another act of control of my ex. So my name was not on the lease, so I could not even prove that this was part of my place. Doesn't matter how much money or time or anything it doesn't matter how much time I spent there, it doesn't matter how much money I put into this place. My name was not on the lease, so legally it's his place. Legally it was owned by someone else and we were renting, but yeah, on the lease it's his place, so he's saying get out. So that night after being attacked, I got the lovely pleasure of having police officers escort me into my own home and watch me take some stuff so that I can go to my parents for the night. And it was like they were watching me to make sure I didn't take anything or do anything or like hurt him. They were protecting him. They were letting me back into my own home to grab items for me to grab personal items because I had asked if I could do that. And I didn't have anything. And they escorted me back into my own home, let me grab my own things, and they were watching me to make sure I don't take anything of his and that I don't hurt him. I don't think it had anything to do with protecting me, which is the most fucked part. And I, after escaping and calling the police and doing everything that I thought was right, calling the police, asking for help, I was pushed to leave. I was not given the option to make a statement. I was not given the option to press charges. The police officer, the second police officer, basically threatened me. And yeah, like he said, you're not hurt enough. You made the first move. So he potentially can charge you as well. You don't want that to happen. You don't have any proof. He sided with my ex. He sided with the abuser. He gave him all the power and took all my power away that day. Yeah. He said, you're not hurt enough for me to take your side. He said that because I had started it, my ex had the option to file charges against me as well. And I was just terrified. I was terrified of my ex. I was terrified of him. I was terrified of the cops. I was terrified of everything. Like I had just almost died, and that hadn't even sunk in yet. I was just in shock. I was still just in shock, and I was just going through the motions because that's all I could do. Like I was in survival mode. I didn't even know, like I couldn't even comprehend what was going on. And it took a year. It took 1 year at least for these events to really sink in, for these events to really, like I couldn't even have this jumbled description to you a year ago. It took a long time. Anyways, this video is now very long. It's almost 20 minutes. I think that's all I can say now. So this is a description of what the police officer said to me. I think my next video will be about the actions I took against the police service of my home city a year and a bit later after this happened. And I'll talk more about that in another video. Thank you.